Hello everyone and welcome to my coloring corner. Today is Collection Mania Monday, but of course we're still in the middle of the tour. So as you can see on the table there is some Faber-Castell Pitt pens. And we're going to be going through, and I have tried to make sure that I can reach everything with my microphone so that we don't have the same sound quality issues that we had before. Today we're going to go through the pens and the more pens and the more pens of my collection. These are the Faber-Castell Pitt pens. Hopefully you can see that all right. It is the large wooden case set. I'm going to move the camera here just a touch for you. Sorry about that. Up on the top shelf here we have the different varieties. This is the fine liners in black, dark sepia, and sanguine. These are the different colored fine liners. These are all fine liners. And then we have the metallics over here. These are quite interesting. They're a metallic bullet nib, and they are really, really vibrant metallics. And then we have our calligraphy Pitt pen here, and it's got a little tiny chisel calligraphy tip to it, as well as this one here, which is the soft chisel. And it has a chisel tip, but it acts like a brush tip. These ones down here are the small brush tips. And of course I have the full set, so I have all of the colors. Hopefully you guys can see that all right. Of course the light is probably cutting off the view there. The pale yellow probably wasn't the best one to show you. Okay, so there's a cobalt blue, and let's see if I can maneuver you a little bit. Just gonna swing you around. Ooh, who is seasick now? So we've got a full set all the way back. This tray here is in the way a little bit, but we've got yellows into the purples, blues into the browns, browns into the blacks and grays. The Faber-Castell Pitt pens are an India ink, and they are very permanent once they dry. They can be moved a little bit with water, and that's one of the things I really like about them. All right, so that is the Faber-Castell Pitt pens. They were a large set, and I got them on sale really, really cheap because I wanted to try them out. I would not suggest purchasing this set if you're just a starter with the Pitt pens. I was extremely overwhelmed by it when I first got it, and I don't use it nearly as much as I thought I would. Okay, so that's the Pitt pens. Put those aside here. They come in a lovely wooden box for that set with the handle and all that fun stuff. So we're going to get into the alcohol markers. So the first one is the Arteza 144. It's 144 unique colors. Just checking the camera, make sure that you guys can see everything okay. They are just the bullet nib and the chisel nib. These are not the brush markers. They are a fairly nice marker though. I have swatched them. I haven't colored with them a whole lot. These I just got in recently, so they're a really cool marker. I've always enjoyed the Faber-Castell, or not the Faber-Castell, the Arteza products, and I have had their alcohol markers once before in the 120 set, which comes with a wonderful little case. These come in individual little boxes, so you can separate them by color and just pull out one box at a time, or you can pull the full box like that. All right, so that's the Arteza alcohol markers. Of course, they have a really nice range of colors from yellows into our oranges, pinks, and reds, into the purples, blues, greens, browns, and grays. So a great selection of markers there. The next ones that we're going to look at are one of my oldest sets of markers. And these are chroma markers. They are a brush tip, really nice brush tip, and a chisel tip. The Chroma company says that they are supposed to be coming out with refills for these markers. I have not seen any information on those. I haven't looked either, but they are a really good 216 marker set. Pretty much any color you could possibly imagine in these markers. So we have our yellows into our pinks and reds, into our violets, blues, blue violets, browns, browns into the grays, grays into the greens. Really, really good set of markers. Have a fantastic brush tip. And, you know, it was one of the first ones that my husband ever bought me with the brush tip because they were cheaper than the Copics. So that is another wonderful set of brush markers. And another set that I got in about the same time, well, when I first started coloring, is the Bagno. These are a bullet tip and a brush, or bullet tip and a chisel. Also a really good set of markers. They're a cheaper marker. When I did get these in the first time I opened them, they were very, very smelly. These are about 3 years old and are still full of ink. They still work really, really well. I have them all separated into color family, mostly. The grays and greens are mixed together a little bit. But we have a good selection of yellows and light browns, reds and purples, blues. The blues are a little bit lacking, but of course there's a couple that are in the wrong spot. I have them separated with some paper so that I could keep them in order. But so we have some yellows, our reds and purples, our blues, our greens, and our grays. It comes with a little warranty card as well as your swatch card. This is a 72 color set and it does have a really good selection of colors. These are still on the market today. So if you enjoy the bullet nib and don't want to spend a lot of money, of course, these are a wonderful set for that. Now, another one of my older sets is, nope, that's not it. We'll have to move a few things because these are not my older sets. These are my older sets. Now, you can purchase a large case like this on Amazon. This is a marker case. It is Velcroed closed on the sides as well as the front. And I have room in there for a few others. So these are some of my first sets of markers. This one here, of course, is the Spectrum Noir. I don't have a lot of these, but I do have some. And these are a small chisel tip and a large chisel tip. The Spectrum Noir have a really good selection of colors. I just bought a couple of sets that were on sale really cheap when I bought them. So I've got some blues and browns and some pinks. And then we have the Cali art markers. These are one of the original sets that I ever received. They are a bullet nib and of course the chisel tip. And the Cali art markers are pretty good as well. They do have these little nubbies here to stop them from rolling off the table. And I have a small set of those. I do believe there's like 50. I think it's a 50 set. The great thing about these marker cases, just like that one pencil case that I was showing you, they do Velcro in, so you can remove a set altogether and use them. These are my Copic Classics, and I received the A set from my husband. He thought he had bought me the Copic Sketch, and yeah, he bought me the wrong ones, but that's okay. These work quite nicely. They are a bullet nib as well as a chisel nib. And they do match the Copic colors, so I can color along with some Copic videos using the colors that are here. And of course I have some yellows, oranges, reds, pinks, purples, blues, blue-greens, greens, browns, blacks, grays, and all those wonderful things. I even have special black. So it is a good selection of the Copic colors. Like I said, it was a 72 or 78 set of the Copic Classic 2s. And that is what is in this marker case. These are of course, the original ones that I first started out with, and I'm not a huge marker person, so I don't use them as much as I should. I'm going to move this in a little closer so you can see it a little better. There we go. I don't use them nearly as much as I should. I'm a little afraid of markers sometimes. I don't like getting lines, and I don't have as much control over a marker than I do a pencil. And I think that's my biggest problem, is I'm a control freak. Um, I want that control. I want to be able to say, okay, I want color here, not here, and keep it there. With markers, I have a tendency to not anticipate the bleed and end up with a bleed line, which I don't like. But I digress. So those are my Copics, my Cali Arts, and my Spectrum Noir from my original sets. Let's get these ones out of the way here. This is in a 3D printed holder that my husband made me, created by another 3D printing community member. I won't divulge, well, I would if I could remember how to say her name. Geeky Faye Arts, that's it. Hate it when my brain goes, yeet. These are the Cali Art brush markers, and I have the full 120 set of the Cali Art brush markers from here. So I've got the yellows and the greens and blues, These are a part of the Cali Art um, nib markers that I had originally in the skin tones. And over here I have the Cali Art brush tip skin tones. So I have mixed those all together. And then up here we have all different little ones. Like this one here is True Black from the Spectrum Noir set. I have the odd Copic sketches that I own. I don't own very many, but I have a few. These are Spectra markers, and they're quite nice. They have a really nice brush nib, as well as a really nice small chisel nib as well. These ones here I have to look into a little bit deeper. They do have the color number on them, but I'm not seeing anywhere that they have the color name on them. So, but like I said, they are made in China. They do have this really cool almost round oval shape like the Copic sketch. They're a little bit smaller than the Copic sketch, but they do have these little spots on the lid for you to grab hold of, and they do click in pretty good. These ones here are a sketch marker graphics sketch marker. It has a small bullet nib as well as a chisel nib, and I have a couple of those as well here. So I have pinks and purples as well as a blender, I do believe. Yeah, I think this is the blender. Let me see. Yeah. And then we have this one here, which is just a permanent marker graphics. And this one here, which is a Copic Chow. And I think that's all that I have in my stand. And it stands up like this, and I usually have it on my desk, but I have moved it off my desk. All right, so the next ones. This is the original Cali Art brush marker set that I got. I did remove some of the colors from it to fill the marker case here. And like I said, they are a Cali sketch marker. They have a really good bullet nib or a sketch nib, brush nib, and a broad nib. They do have a quite an odor comparative to most of my other markers. This is a set that I received quite a while ago for review, and these are the Spree markers. They were previously on sale recently for very, very inexpensive. And they're triangular. They're so cool. They feel so comfortable in your hand. And they have a really good brush nib and a good chisel nib as well. But they are really, really nice. I wish I had purchased one of the larger sets when they were on sale. However, I don't use alcohol markers a whole lot. Like I said, I have a bit of a control issue, and I'm not able to control the placement of these as well as I am colored pencils. So I talked myself out of it when they were on sale, so that I would use up the ones I already have, because I have a lot of markers that I don't use regularly enough to warrant purchasing more. So those are the Spree 50. And like I said, they are a really good brush marker with a chisel nib. They have a great selection of colors in the 50 set. And I can't remember. Yeah, and they have a color code here. As you can see, I've done the color code, which tells you the names and the numbers of the markers. So when you're looking at this RP6, you look up here at number 6 and you have vivid pink. On the marker itself, there is no other marks other than on the lid. Other than that, great little set of markers. And like I said, I wish I used markers more with the amount of markers I have, because I have a lot of them. This is another set of markers from Parku that I was sent for review. I really kind of wish this company had more than just 12 in the brush nibs, because their brush nibs are really nice. This kind of looks the same as, say, this marker here. However, the tops are different. They have a little bit of a different roll to them. This doesn't have any information whatsoever on the barrel other than the fact that it's a brush marker and that the brush and broad side have their own little graphics there. On the brush side, it is a darker color than on the broad side, and on the lid has all of your information for color. It has a really big brush comparative to about the same as the Cali. Actually, they look almost identical. The Cali markers and the Parku markers look very, very similar. So you could probably use them together. Well, you can use any alcohol markers with any other alcohol markers. They do have an odor when you open them, so be careful of that. And they work really, really nice. I have colored with these ones and reviewed these on the channel previously. And they're quite nice for an inexpensive marker. The next ones I have that are fairly new are, I have a thing for pastel colors, and I couldn't resist the Ohuhu pastel markers. These look very similar to the lids of anything else, but they have a brush nib here as well as a broad nib here. And the nibs themselves look very similar to everything else as well. So let's, oh, wrong one. So it looks a little bit smaller than the Castle Arts, or Cali Arts, I should say. So the brush nib on the Ohuhu are smaller than the Cali Arts brush nib, which could make it a little bit firmer in movement as well. This is a really cute set of really pastel colors. I do believe I have, no. It comes with the color chart as well as all the information on the 48 colors plus the one blender. And it also tells you all about the different markers that are created by Ohuhu, as well as information on the Ohuhu company. As well, it tells you in here about the nibs, how to flip it over, that sort of thing. So the great thing about these markers is that you can flip the nibs over and create or repair your nibs. It also comes with these little cards. I didn't use those. I used an actual swatch chart. Great little set of markers, beautiful little colors, very pastel colors, which is great because most markers don't have a lot of the pastel colors, and I really like pastel colors. So that is the Ohuhu pastel markers. And hopefully you guys were able to see that okay. Next, we have another set of, is this the other set of banyo? No, that's, oh, we're almost done. We're almost done with the markers. Then we get to move into pens. Don't worry, there's not a lot of pens, I promise. These are the Ann Love, and the Ann Love markers come in a fantastic set. The bag is nice and firm and holds the pens quite nicely. They have a plastic sheet on the top that holds them in place, as well as little plastic holders in the bottom that hold them in place. Really nice set of markers. I'm going to pop this off here so that I can show you one. They are a brush nib, and these have a rubbery brush nib, which is really kind of cool, as well as the basic chisel nib. These can be flipped over as well. They are an alcohol-based marker, and they do have a color name and number on the top of each marker. Great selection of colors. There's actually some really nice pastel-y colors in here, like this one here, the pale violet or pale lavender, as well as some of the pale yellows. Beautiful set of markers. Again, I don't use nearly enough, and I really need to start using them more. But that is the Ann Love. These were also sent to me for review, and I just love them. I love the case and everything else. They're just fantastic. This set here is a much larger set, and I did purchase these ones. These are the Sanjoki 120 marker set. Again, has that wonderful Velcro, but if you tuck the Velcro back like that, you can tip the entire set of pins so that you can look at as you're using them. They are in little plastic holders, so they hold in place. They have a great selection of yellows, oranges, reds, pinks, purples, blues, greens, browns, a huge selection of grays. And once again, you have the ability to completely open the entire package so that you can see all the markers all at once. You can move them around, things like that. They are, like I said, in these plastic holders down here. And these are also a brush nib. This is a shorter brush nib, as well as a chisel nib. If you haven't noticed, there is a bit of a theme going on here. I really do prefer the brush nibs, and I should really stop buying them until I start having ones go dry. I should really stop buying them, but I think I have enough markers to get me through for the rest of my life, because like I said, I don't use them nearly as much as I should or want to. I am slowly learning how to use them, and I am going to be watching Ryan over on Color and Recover throughout the month on how to use and how to blend and how to get all those wonderful effects out of alcohol markers so that I can use them more often. So that is all of my alcohol markers. Now we're going to, just dive into some gel pens here for a bit. I've made a mess of the covering. These in here are my gel pens. Well, some of my gel pens. These are the Zuyu, the neon color gel pens. These are all ones that I had on my desk in my pencil holder until I sold that one. They are made, they have made this, the same company has made these diamond tipped ones, and I really like the diamond tipped ones. Um, they are beautiful colors and a very, very fine tip, compared to the typical gel pen. And I have a full set of these, including, metallics, pastels, all sorts of different colors. Wonderful set of pens, and I will be putting these back on my desk after Bob creates me another holder for them. These ones here also come in a wide variety of colors, both regular colors, metallics, glitters, everything such as that, and also are a really nice pen. They have a wider tip than the diamond pens, and that's why I like having them together. And that is those gel pens. Now, let's go into these ones here. This one here carries, I know it says Castle Arts because I didn't wash that off. I used to have my Castle Arts pencils in here, but then I moved them. So this became a pen case, and this has all sorts of different types of pens in it, not only gel pens, but watercolor markers and things like that. Um, so we'll take a look in here and see what's all in here. Just going to open it all up. So the start of it, of course, is gel pens. These are the basic gel pens. They've got the scented, the glitters, the metallics, the pastels, and the neons, as well as some regular colors. And then we have the Arteza, or Arteza, whichever you want to put it. And we've got the glitters and the metallics in the Arteza. And then we have the Zebra fine liners. These are a lovely brush pen that is a water-based pen. And it has a brush pen as well as a fine liner. So it's got a really nice brush pen, as well as a little bullet fine liner nib, which is really cool. Which way did I have that? And it has a really good selection of colors in those. It not a huge set, but it does have a good selection of colors. These are the U Buy metallic brush markers. These are also a water-based, and it has a really good brush nib on it. And in the set, you get 2 of each color. I've used some, well, I've used all of them, all the colors, but not all the pens, because you don't need to use the same colors twice. And then on this side here, we have another Zebra product, and this is also a brush marker. This is the Zebra metallic marker, and it's got a small fine brush nib on it. And it's actually a very, very bright metallic. It has a good shine. And then I have the Tombow brush markers here. These are a water-based brush marker, and it has a really good brush nib, as well as a wonderful little fine bullet nib. It's not a fine point, but it does have a really small nib on it. And then, of course, I have my Tombow water-based blending brush there. And what else do we got in here? These ones here are a Monami brush nib. These came in a sketch box. So it has a small brush nib as well as a large brush nib. And I have looked these up online when I got them in because I thought they were really cool. to have not only the small brush nib but the large brush nib, and they're really expensive. So I don't have any more than just those two. I have a blue-green and a gray in those. This one here is also a Tombow. This is a Tombow ABT Pro. This one is alcohol based, and it has a brush nib as well as a chisel nib. And I think that's the only alcohol based one I have. So all the black barreled ones are a water base, and the gray white barrel one is an alcohol base, which is kind of cool. And that is my gel pens and watercolor markers in there. Now we have another one of these cases. I have a lot of these cases, and these are good for pencils as well as your gel pens. You open them the same way you do with your pencils, of course. And I've got my sparkle pops and my milky pops and my metallic pops and all that in here. I also have my zig markers in here. So these are the Wink of Stellas. So I've got all the colors of the Wink of Stellas in there. I also have my jelly rolls. My Sakura jelly rolls are in there, as well as some extra white ones that I haven't used yet. And then I have I think these are rayon, a mixture of rayon and which ones are these ones? These ones are just a no-name brand. They don't seem to have any markings on them. But I have them all set in the same colors. I have a good selection of different colors, so I could, technically color an entire page with just gel pens. Like I said, I have a collection. The one thing that I don't like about most of these gel pens is they tend to stutter. So when you're trying to lay down, either a piece of glitter gets stuck in them or something and it just stutters, which drives me crazy. But I do have a huge selection of the gel pens, so I can pretty much add any color I want into any of my pictures, whether it be a yellow or a black. I have pretty much all of them in this set. And like I said, it's the rayons and or rayon, but it's one of the better ones as well as a cheapo set. I can't remember the name of the cheapo set. It's been that long. I don't use these ones very often, like I said, because I do find that they stutter a little bit, which I don't like. I did look at buying another set of the rayons when they were all the rage with what's her name? Jennifer Stay. And then I found these ones in my bag. Okay, so those other ones must be the Fila's because I have the replacements here. And I'm not very fond of the Fila's. But I have all the replacements there of the Fila's, which is silly because trying to figure out which pens those go into is next to impossible. So that's the Fila's and the rayons. And this one here, I know what's in here because I've got my pointillism in there. Oh, those ones hit the floor. That's all right. It's not a pencil. I haven't knocked pencils on the floor during this whole thing, so that's kind of cool. So in here we have our fine points as well as our water brush markers and some Sharpies and some fine liners and some more fine liners. I think these ones here are actually a little brush pen. Nope, bullet nib. Small bullet nibs. And then some more Faber-Castell Pitt pens, as well as some paint pens. These are a brush paint pen. It's not a watercolor. Well, it is a watercolor, but it's a paint, not a thick brush. It's just a small, thin paint brush. These ones, is there a brand on it? It's Crafts and Colors is the brand. They're actually a really nice set of paint pens. And then I have the Arteza Twi markers. So I have the full set of the Arteza Twi markers. When I bought the Twi markers, I also found another set that was called Twin Marker. And it's just a no-name brand, and I found they are exactly the same as the Twi markers. I did look for them online on Amazon to see if they still existed, and they were no longer available. So, but they were a much, much cheaper alternative to the Twi markers. A smaller set, of course, but a much more comparable price. I must have one out somewhere probably because I was doing the pointillism with them. They do have a really good brush nib as well as a really good fine tip nib as well. They have some really nice colors. Another problem with these, of course, is the factor of control. These are a water-based marker, so you have to be really careful when you're using them on coloring book paper or cardstock, things like that. They do tend to pill up the paper a little bit, as most watercolor things do. And that's why I have issues with watercolor things. Not that I hate them, I don't hate them. I just have to make sure that I have printed on a watercolor paper or that I'm using a good paper that's going to withstand the problems that watercolor presents. Otherwise, I actually really like watercolor. I just find that I have a hard time controlling it. And as we all know, Renee has control issues when it comes to her pencils. When it comes to her coloring, she likes to be in control. But it is another thing that I do really want to start learning how to do a lot better. And that is it for the pens and markers in my collection. I do have, let's see, do I have any more hiding? Nope, I don't think I do. Well, I guess I do have some that aren't actually pens, they're more paint, but as well as some acrylic paint pens and things like that that are pretty much the same thing. Um, just 1 second here. I'll see if I can get it without completely pulling out the headset here. So I'm going to actually just pull this whole thing out and put it on the counter. Okay. Let's make sure I don't unplug everything. So, this set. This is my acrylic paint marker drawer, and it has small acrylic paint pens. These are a 30 color acrylic paint marker. They do have a small chisel tip or a small bullet nib. you do have to shake them up to get them going, press them in, that sort of thing. These are Acrylico paint markers. Those are the small nib ones, and these are the medium nib ones. So these have a medium nib, so a much bigger tip, and I use these to color 3D prints, and they work really well on glass as well. So it tells you right on the um, package how to put them on glass and what to do in order to make it permanent. These ones here are also an acrylic painter or marker, and I really like these ones. These ones are really cute. They're quite small, and as you can see, the paint needs to be mixed up. And once you mix it up, it goes the right color, and it's got a really good thin tip on them, which is great. This has a fantastic arrangement of colors in it, and they were really quite inexpensive. It's just a small 24 count set from Fly-C acrylic painter markers. Works on anything. It is a water-based paint, and yeah, it works pretty good. They are usually they are sealed in plastic when you get them. You activate them the same way that you do an acrylic paint marker. And you can use them on pretty much anything: metal, skin, paper, stone, leather, plastic, ceramics, glass, wood, cloth, things like that. They work really good. Again, these are all things that I use in the 3D printing world. So here we have one of my favorites. This one here is done by Magic Fly, and I just love these. These are wonderful. The Magic Fly markers comes with two ends. One end is a nice heavy chisel, and the other end is a really good fine point. They are really stiff, so it doesn't fray, but it's pretty much, a great marker. On the chisel tip here, you can flip that over, and there's a bullet nub, a thick bullet nub on there as well. So it's pretty much three markers in one. It also comes with replacement nibs for the bullet and the chisel. So if you have a chisel nib, say in the dark brown, but you want a bullet nib instead, you just take out the chisel nib and you replace it with a bullet nib. Fantastic set of markers for coloring anything that you need acrylic markers for. And that's the Magic Fly set, and they're really good. Another one that I really like using, especially on the 3D prints, is this set here. It's huge. It is a 30-piece set, and it has a great selection of colors in it. Some yellows, pinks, reds, all different colors, and they're a really nice pen. They're heavy duty, quite full. You just have to shake them up to get them started, and they have a fantastic thin marker point, which when you're coloring 3D prints is very important, because you have to get in between those layer lines, and having this thin point like this helps get into those layer lines quite nicely. And they're just a really lovely pen. And of course it tells you how to use them, how to solidify them. So if you're using them on ceramic or on glass or anything else, you just throw it in the oven for an hour. Let it cool for a day, and you can wash them or anything else like that, and it just sticks on there. So it's got 28 colors plus 2 blacks and 2 whites, and the white in here is really white, which works great for um, our coloring for the highlights and stuff like that. All right. As I said, I do enjoy the Arteza products, and I do have a full set of the Arteza acrylic markers. This one is lemon yellow, and it does have a really thick bullet nib as well. You can flip that over and it's a chisel nib. When you buy these markers, it does come with a, let's see if it's in here. I may not have put it in here with it. Just going to make some noise now. No. So it does come with a set of tweezers so that you can pull those out. So you activate this just the same way you do any other acrylic marker. You shake it up, you pump it, and you draw. This set comes with, I think it's 24. Let's see, there's and they're quite bright. The colors that come in that set are really, really nice. I used to have them in my Arteza marker kit, but I gave that away. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the white is really, really white, but it's a really large nib, so it's not really good for making highlights. So I'm just positioning all these over here so I can see how many there are. These ones here are actually a tempera paint stick. So they're kind of like the King Arts and that sort of thing, but instead of being just a gel stick that you can rub around, these are an actual tempera paint. So you can rub this on an area, take some water to it, and get a really thick layer of that tempera paint on it, which is really cool. I have not used them the same as I would the other gel sticks, but I have used them on ceramics and things like that for paint. And that's something that I picked up at Hobby Lobby because I was going to paint garden gnome that had lost all its color until I figured out that those were a watercolor thing, and yeah, probably wouldn't work so well outside. These ones here that I'm gathering up are a glitter marker. These are fantastic. They are beautifully colored. Wonderful, wonderful marker. Stick them over there. They are a good bullet nib, and they do put out a lot of glitter. They are, I do believe, an acrylic. Let's check and make sure, because you activate them the same way that you... Okay, so they're a water-based pigment ink. They are waterproof when they dry, and UV resistant, they say. So you shake it up the same way you do an acrylic marker, and you activate them the same way. And they're actually really cool. I don't remember where I bought these from, but I think my husband bought them at the local supply store. But they're really kind of cool. And they're, like I said, they're water-based marker, so you have the same problems that you do with a water-based ink. And that's that if you scrub too hard or put too much down, you're going to pill your paper if you're not using a water-based paper. but they are so colorful. This one here is like a really bright fluorescent yellow. And this one's a fluorescent orange. Wonderful colors. The tempera paints come in some really good bright fluorescent colors as well as some metallics. Um, yeah, so those are, I think, every pen I have. I think I have gone through all my pens except for, regular writing pens. You guys don't want to know about those. Oh, actually, yeah, you do. There's one set you want to know about. Let's see if I can find them. Hopefully, maybe. I put them away. This is one of the sets that I purchased for my husband. And let's see if I think I gave it back to him. It's actually a really cool pen that is made of glass. And I think I gave it back to him so I didn't break it. Because, yeah, I would. I'm horrible with things like that. I would break them. But what I do have here is the tweezers I was telling you about. So this is the set of tweezers that comes with the Arteza markers. So say you don't want to keep that in there, you just grab hold of it and pull it out. It's got a finer marker point at the other end. This one here has not been activated, so I can pretty much handle it because I haven't used all of the colors. I just didn't have any use for the orange, or bright orange, I should say. So let's see how many, 2, 4, 6. Yeah, so I do believe there's 24 of the Arteza markers in the Arteza set. All right, so that is, I think, all of my markers, guys. Both acrylic and regular alcoholic alcoholic markers and water markers and all of those fun things. So I do thank you all very much for joining me. I hope that you have enjoyed this part of the Coloring Corner tour. We do have one more small part to go through, so that will be the next time, where we go through different storage things as well as some glitter glues, inks, brushes, sharpeners, all of those fun things. Until next time, I want to say thank you all very much for joining me. I hope you all have enjoyed the video. Of course, remember to relax, color, and stay safe. Until next time, guys, bye-bye for now.